This is group 6, and this is going to be our presentation on what we've done so far in this class. And I'm going to hand it off to Melanie to kick us off.
Great. Okay. So to begin, we started thinking about like what we think needs fixing around campus. And we decided to go with student tiredness because obviously we feel like that's not something that's really talked about much, or it's not something that people are actually trying to like fix. And so as we started our journey with that idea, we came up with some goals, and the main four were to find somewhere to rest and recharge on campus, to see how sleep affects performances in classes. Along with that, we also wanted to see like how the number of hours that you are sleeping affects just anything around you. And then if being tired also affects like your emotions and your feelings. And so in order to figure out like the answers to these goals, we had to conduct some interviews. And for our main interview questions, we basically just tried to focus around asking people the amount of credits that they had, what their majors were, how many hours of sleep they get per night, where they go on campus for privacy, if they commute or if they live on campus, what they do when they get tired, and how they like feel or like what gets affected when they are tired. And then to go along with this, we had everyone in our group interview 2 people. And then we also did a secondary learning method, and each of us chose a different method to use. And our methods were expectation mapping, field visits, shadowing, day in a life, diaries, and intercepts.
So for the analysis, the majority of the students said that they do not get enough sleep, and getting not enough sleep can cause a decline in mental health. It can cause people to not pay as good attention in class and not retain as much information. And you could wake up exhausted, which would also lead to falling asleep in class. And the majority of the people we spoke to were commuters. And so they always have to like wake up early to get a parking spot, and grades improve more with the more sleep that you get. And so for the housing, like I said, the majority of people we talked to were commuters, and they're either commuters from across the river or commuters in the fort. And the commuters across the river have no choice but to get up early to find a parking spot. And some people that lived in the campus dorms are the only people that had easy access to privacy, because if the commuters, they can't just go home and then they're like stuck on campus.
One of the main things we looked for also was majors. So we had a wide variety of majors such as pre-med, biology, neuroscience, usually stuff like that, architecture, business, and even engineering. All of these classes seem to have a large workload. And when it comes to sleeping habits, it really affected them. So like many felt like they lacked the ability to learn in class. Long lectures especially really affected them. They were unable to sleep well because of the homework. So combined with all of that, they became very irritable. They were more likely to skip, and their grades were very affected.
So when thinking of a persona that matches all of the stuff that we just talked about, we came up with Chad. Chad is a commuter from across the river. He's a second year engineering major. He takes 18 credit hours of classes, which means he has a heavy schedule. He also has a part-time job as an intern, but with the amount of workload and homework he has, he only gets 3 to 5 hours of sleep per night. And when he's on campus from 7 to 4, he has no breaks in between classes. He's also very sad because he has no social life and he's always tired.
So we asked the questions, how may we improve sleeping habits? How may we improve on-campus privacy? And how may we include or allow students to get better to improve academic performance? So some of the ideas we came up with were you could, like for a product, you could sleep with a mask and headphones on, just so it's like nothing. It's easier to sleep. We get apps that lock you out of your phone before bed because the blue light messes with your sleep. There's a REM cycle tracker. We came up with the idea of sleeping pods somewhere, anywhere on campus. So if you ever want to take a nap, if you're a commuter, you could find a sleeping pod. For wildcard, just less homework, make it easier on the students. So on-campus privacy, we could do cubbies with like a desk and storage. You have your own little work area. And just allowing students to improve their academic performance. They could have customizable planners so they can, like an agenda, just to plan out their day, so everything's set in stone for them. There's like an AI homework problem solver, so like Socratic or photo math, just to help them out a little bit. And more study rooms. There's a lot in the library, but it doesn't hurt to have more.
So after talking about all of these potential product ideas, we thought an important part of the ideation process might be to visualize some of the potential products that we might be offering to introduce these solutions. And I think we had a lot of fun with this, especially the sleeping pod was an idea that we were all super partial towards. So potentially visualizing what that might look like around on campus based on pods that we've seen in various corporate and school settings was a fun challenge to do. And that's something that's a lot more practical. Things that are more on a lower budget scale, something like the sleeping mask idea with the Bluetooth headphones and the kind of like the blackout comfortable eye mask is something that is definitely a common product today, but there's definitely room for innovation for. So that's why we included it in this visualization here. We also included a privacy screen protector, something that can filter out unwanted eyes on campus while also potentially providing some blue light filtering. Again, going back to the theme of sleep for students. And then just we thought it'd be fun to visualize a wild card product, which would be your student holographic recreation that you could leave in your class to get attendance while you were getting some extra sleep, maybe preparing for a big presentation or test, or maybe something more important where a lecture class would be a second priority. That was, for my part, that was inspired a lot by the current technology that's being developed today. Obviously, it's not quite ready for commercial use, but there were instances like Tupac at Coachella or the recreation of a holographic Robert Kardashian that I found interesting and that we could potentially implement for students down the line. So that's our presentation, and we appreciate you listening to our ideas.